everybody, welcome to Beyond the Lines. Today I'm having a 3-color challenge. Daniel did choose the colors. Don't stare at the people, they get scared. He's gonna help me pick them out. And today it's watercolors. Now, the pens are dry, so don't worry if you feel the color. It's nothing that's gonna smudge. Please close your eyes and tip at 3 of the 12 pans. Let me guide you to the thing. This is the box. And there's 2 rows. Please choose, not the Palettendreck. Okay? Number 1. Okay, number 2. You're in the middle between 2. This one. Okay. You can open them. So we have the warm red, the cold red, and the yellow ochre to work with. And I'm gonna work in the Secret Garden Artist's Edition, which is a watercolor book, watercolor paper, and I'm going to paint this and going to tell you how I mix colors, where I choose to put what color to, well, have a bit of a scene going on there. That's I think, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a scene, it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's a season, it's all those things, and I'm gonna show you. Let's get going. This is the piece that I'm gonna color, and I'm using the Schmincke watercolors. Daniel had chosen the light ochre and the 2 reds. Now for this piece here, there's a lot of flowers, so they're gonna be red, and I think all the rest I'm going to have different shades of the yellow ochre with maybe some mixed in red tones here and there, especially for the leaves. Now what I'm going to start with, because I don't want to have the background be white and only have the leaves and flowers and things colored, I'm going to spray this and have a very light coat of yellow ochre. Now I have taped my piece down. I've taken it out of the book and taped it. I don't mind parts of this painting maybe not be painted. That's actually fine for me. If you don't like that, yeah, maybe you have to color in 2 steps. Taking a juicy and thirsty brush here, big round one, and I'm just going to take yellow ochre onto my brush, loads of it, and I'm going to dump it on the lower part here and just put it in. Very loose. I'm going to add way more water in a minute to really make it a very soft background, but I want it a bit darker towards the edges. And then have the light behind that birdhouse here. So I'm just putting in a little bit there. Now I'm spraying some more. Make the paint run really well. And I'm going in with the same brush, but no pigment, no paint on it. And I'm just spreading the yellow ochre a bit more. I have a paper towel handy to soak up any excess color that might want to run onto the table or anywhere else, because I don't want that. I'm also not wanting the super dark here, so I'm just dabbing away a bit of the pigment and then go lighter and lighter. The further out I dab. There we go. And then I can blast this really, really well with my blow dryer. Ouch. Of course I can bump against the water brush thing too. And I'm also gonna clean up or dry the parts around my painting that I did spray with my water bottle. I don't want this wet. So I'm going to dry this off and then I'm gonna be back. Okie dokie. Now my piece is still a bit wonky and that's perfectly fine for me because I'm gonna dump way more water on there, so I'm not going to worry about that. I can always flatten it out later. Now let me see. I have the birdhouse, I have leaves, I have flower buds. Let's go with let's go with the parts first that would be just yellow ochre, no mixing yet. And I think I want this plant here to be, let's see. I definitely want this one here, just yellow ochre, nothing else. And maybe also this one and this one. Yeah, these three just yellow ochre, and at least for the leaves, you know. And I'm taking a tiny brush here. Oh, that has a little bit of red in it. No, it's fine. Okay, and I'm just going in and picking up a bit of the yellow ochre. Pretty solid pigment, not very thinned down. And I'm just coloring in all of those leaves here. Since I'm having only 3 colors here, I'm trying to keep my mixing or my shading of things to a minimum, because I can only mix so many tones, and if I would shade every little leaf here, I would go mad. I would definitely need more colors to do that and have variety in regards to all the other plants that I'm having on this particular painting here. So I'm going to go with a little less shading. Would I have all the colors in the world at my disposal now, or just the 12 colors in this palette here, I would have let this dry just a smidge and then have a little bit of Van Dyke brown at the bottom of the leaves, so at this part here. But I don't. And then with having the paint damp and not really wet, the Van Dyke brown would have mixed a little bit with the yellow ochre and gave those leaves a bit more of dimension. But since Daniel didn't pick the Van Dyke brown or sepia, whatever you want to call it, the cold brown, dark brown, I'm not able to do that. However, I'm going to be able to play with mixing the reds and have red and yellow ochre be mixed. Just concentrating here to not color the wrong leaf of the wrong tree. I mean, I could always repair, can always re-wet and dab things away. The yellow ochre is really easily liftable, so meaning if you have maybe too much on your painting, or it's going places that you don't want it, or you kind of want to quote-unquote erase the color altogether in the end, you just go over it with some water, either with a spray bottle or with a wet brush. Let the paint sit, count to 5 or 10 in your head, depending on how fast you count. And then just put a paper towel on top and the pigment will lift. Now earthy colors like the yellow ochre here lift really easily. The reds, that's a whole different kind of story. Red and purple and a couple of blues are very difficult when it comes to lifting. They kind of stain the paper, and therefore you might want to be a bit more careful when it comes to those colors, where to put them down. But I don't want to scare you. It's just half a second longer to think about, okay, where do I want the reds to go? Where do I want the purples to go? Where do I want some blues to go, you know? And the more you do that, the more you paint, the easier it is going to be to figure out where you want certain colors to go, and not be overwhelmed by all the shades of colors that you can either mix yourself or get in a box at the art store, you know. So this particular painting here with the colors that I have at my disposal, I'm going to go for an autumn theme, autumn time kind of painting. So that actually is perfect with the yellow ochre here. And the squirrel that is here and the bird that is here with a birdhouse, kind of say late autumn, early winter. There's like a little bit of snow already happening there. So I kind of picked a scene that would fit with the colors. So if you want to work with a certain color combination, I would suggest that you look for a coloring page that fits the theme, because that will make it way easier for you to find the color choices that you make harmonic and cohesive with the subject of your coloring. If you paint something on your own, I would also say choose a subject to paint that fits with the colors. So brown, orange, red in this combo here, or just in total, are kind of like autumn theme, autumn colors. Light greens and pastel pinks are maybe a bit more spring-like, and turquoise, yellow, and a dark green or a really bright red are maybe more summer, and the purples and light blues and grays, they're more the winter theme. So depending on what color combination you want to use and what you want to work with, well, go with the accordant subject. Or if you have a certain subject, go with the accordant colors, and it's going to be so much easier for you to get comfortable and to get to know colors, how they really work nice together, what you like. In the process of finding that out, it's really cool to go with the colors and the subject being kind of like, well, you know, working towards each other. You could also go with the blues and the grays for autumn, but then you would go more for the November rain instead of the golden autumn, you know. But that's something that I think might help you if you're new to the coloring process, or if you're just maybe not 100% sure how colors work together, how you can make some things pop and some things be a little more subtle. If you're not sure why your coloring or your painting looks a bit off maybe, that could very well be because of a color tone. And I don't mean to say that you just have to have one combination and that's the right one and only that one works. No, that's not the case. But there's some color combos that are like, let's say a win all the time, no matter what medium you're working with, or maybe if you're working with multiple media, mixed ones, so to say. It's all very different, and it's all very possible to work well. Just gotta know a few little tricks. So in my painting here, or in this show, I always say have a combo of warm and cold colors. They make things look less flat and a little bit more natural. And today I'm working with 2 warm and 1 cold color, which is very nice. I'm very happy that Daniel did give me a cold tone as well. So I have a warm red and a cold red, and I'm having a warm, earthy yellow ochre tone here. So I can mix, I can use the cold red to cool down the warm red or the yellow ochre, and therefore have a bit more of a cold tone in there that will work especially well, I think, for the branches and the stuff up here. And for the birdhouse to have a really dark or just a colder color there. Like almost like a maroon, you know? And if I need a bit more of an orangey color, well, I can go with the warm red. It would have been really difficult would Daniel have picked only warm colors. I would have probably struggled quite a bit more. Then I would have hoped for a blue tone maybe, because blue can sit back very well and is a very nice shading color, at least the blue that I have in this particular watercolor set here. So I would have been happy with that. But say he would have picked the warm green, oh, I would have been in way more trouble. So this combination that he chose is actually really, really nice. You can see I'm just going 1 leaf at a time, trying not to go over the black lines too much, because they kind of soften when I do that. So if I have 2 leaves like here, I'm not going over the middle black line there, because I don't want the one line to be kind of grayish looking and the other one be really black. I want them all the same blackness, so I'm staying away from the big outlines of the leaves. The disadvantage of having my talking, folks, talking, of having my piece taped down is that I cannot turn it. So usually I would have turned the piece quite a couple of times now. So I just have maybe a bit more of a discomfort in my wrist, but I can manage the page buckling. Way better with this, having it taped down. So there's some little, yeah, I'm going to have them colored as well. So there's like, I don't know if these are new leaves or something that are just tiny. No clue, but I'm gonna give it just a little bit of the yellow ochre. Also here there's a couple of leaves already. There's one. That's it. Alrighto. Now the last one for the yellow ochre. I'm gonna time lapse this because it's pretty much the same thing. Now let's get to the mixing. I want to have these, I think this is chestnut? I don't know. I want these leaves to be a bit redder, and I want the cold red mixed with the yellow ochre. Where's my brush? There it is. So I'm going to take, let me bring in the palette here. Going to take the bigger brush and bring in three parts of yellow ochre. Clean my brush really well and go into the cold red. And bring in 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, mixing that. And I think I need a 4th part of the red, maybe even a 5th. Yeah. So that is mixed. Now I can take the smaller brush and use this just to pick up the pigment and color those leaves very well. Hopefully, yeah, that works. I'm also going to leave quote-unquote white space, so this part here, and then I'm going to just put in some water, and that makes for a bit of a difference, a shading difference almost. So for these here, I'm just bringing in the color parts of the leaf. Gonna let that sit for a sec. Then I'm gonna do the same thing that I did before. Just have water on my brush and pull the pigment. That should be enough for now. Okay. And dab this, there we go. It really stains the paper fast, so I just maybe have to paint 2 leaves at a time and then already pull the pigment. Over here's a bit wetter. Okay, so I'm going to paint in that rose colory pigment here too. Okay, every other leaf I already have to move the pigment. This dries really fast here. Okay, let's paint in some more red here, here. I just have a little bit of pigment on my brush, so not very much. Okay. Again, putting in some pigment and pulling with only a watered brush. No paint in there. Same thing here. It almost makes it look like a little bit of a pink or a rose color there at the tip of the leaves. But I think that is actually a nice little touch. There we go. Maybe a bit more over here. Yeah, it's more like it, and a bit more here. Just to give it a bit more oomph and character. This leaf here. gets the red treatment as well. And this paper is really thirsty. It sucks in the red. It's amazing. And I'm just going about it pretty much like I just did with all the other leaves here. To the next part now. I need the bigger brush again, and I need more of the yellow ochre mixed into the same red mixture. So it looks something like this now. And I can paint the squirrel with that. That's the squirrel color. Boop, 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 boop. And I think, let me see, I'm also going to paint leaves and the tree house with that mixture. So for the tree house, I'm going to bring in this tone here as like the base color, base tone. I'm going in later on with a bit of shading. But for now, this is gonna be just the base color of the tree house. Okay, now I'm going to bring a little bit more of the cold red, mix it in with the mixture I just put down, and I'm just going to
add some of that pigment here, that color there, and also here maybe. Just to, well, enhance the contrast a bit and not have everything look too samey. That's a technical term. Okay, bit of shading here. Also here. And maybe, yeah, I can, the top of the bird, the top part, I'm going in with the squirrel color. So, like this. And also for the feet. And the belly is gonna be a bit redder. But I'm going to pull that pigment now so that it's kind of like pinkish red. There we go. Now I'm going to take pure yellow ochre for the beak, put down a bit, and then with a damp brush pull the pigment. There we go. Going to dab away a little bit. Yeah, I'm going in with the same red tone that I used here, so the more red than yellow ochre color. Going to go in and dab the middle of these flowers here. I'm not gonna color those petals, I'm gonna color the other petals. I think I'm going to start a second batch, so the warm red has to come in, so yellow ochre, and warm red. Okay. Maybe I have to add a smidge of the cold red to that. Oh yeah, that's it. Going to take that tone for the bird house stem. pulling the pigment a bit more just to, it's not really, the red's really giving me grief with light and dark, but well, that's fine, I think. I think I'm also going to use that tone for the tree up here. Going to use a bit of a different technique there. All right. Need a little bit of a bigger brush, that one here. So I'm going to wet this trunk here, for example. Okay, then I'm going in with quite the watered down paint. And I'm just gonna dump it here. And then with the smaller brush, just gonna wet things again. Smaller brush. Same up here. Wetting the paper and going in with the paint. Pretty much let it bleed, guide it a bit. And I'm going in with a little bit of the cold red, adding that to the mixture, and going in again. Not everywhere, just the shadow parts pretty much. Cleaning my brush and pulling it a bit, the pigment, just a bit, not too much. Okay. Now, can actually move on to the flowers, and then I know what kind of color I want to have on these lower lower leaves here. So I'm starting with the red. The cold red tone that I just had. Oh, come on, I'm gonna color them all. The one thing that I will allow in later on is a white gel pen. So I might put in some white dots in the middle of these flowers later. Depends. Depends on if I think I need a bit of a highlight or a contrast. If it is maybe quote-unquote too red. Now I need the warm red. I need to put a bit of that into the painting. And I think I want this flower here to be warm red. By leaving things out, like these tiny bubbles here or the center, I'm creating contrast. Okay. And again, I could go in with a white gel pen if I want it in the end and have these tiny bubbles be really white instead of very light ochre. I'm going in with the warm red for these flowers here too. I'm taking the bigger brush to pull this pigment hope the shoulder crunching wasn't picked up by the mic. So just put in some red at the center here pretty much. Having my brush almost too dry. And then taking the bigger brush and just pulling the pigment. And by the way you apply the watercolor, you can already have a difference there. Even if you only use a very little different kind of colors there. So you can easily achieve a bit of difference in the way your, say, flowers are colored by the way you apply the color. And it's all the same color there. So this is way more in your face, comic-y almost, and this is way more subtle. And by changing things up, you don't have to have all the colors on the color wheel and still achieve a quite diverse painting, I think. For the remaining two flowers, so this one here and that one, I'm gonna mix the warm red with the cold red. So maybe a bigger brush for mixing. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, that's a nice red. I like that. Just putting in some pigment towards the center of the flower. And again, I'm going to pull it. Just so that I forgot to paint flower buds here. So I'm just gonna put them in. And now the final flower. Okay. This time I'm doing it the other way around, so painting the outside and in a hot second pulling in the pigment towards the center of the flower. Cleaning my brush, have it damp, and pulling. Pull, pull, pull. Okie dokie. Now I have to check for a hot second. I think want to have a bit of yellow ochre mixed with only very little of the red, and there it being the warm red, just a smidge. That's a nice color. I'm gonna go in for leaves, so more yellow ochre. I'm just having a quote-unquote dirty brush, so I have a bit of the red still in my brush, and I just went in for yellow ochre. That's, I think, difference enough. to have it look just a little bit different than this flower there. For those leaves here, I'm gonna wet one leaf and then dump in the yellow ochre and a smidge of the red, the warm red, that is. And I'm just gonna let it run and see how well it mixes and how far it goes. Doing the same to all the other leaves. Just taking a little bit of the yellow ochre, mix with the cold red, and painting in that stem here. And now I only need the leaves here. I'm having quite a bit of red already, so I think I'm just going to use the yellow ochre and just put it in as a shading thing, just like here, but only with the ochre. So I'm wetting a couple of leaves, pick up the yellow ochre. Maybe I need to have a bit more water. This paper is really, it's so thirsty, it's amazing. Dab that away. And go at it again. The smaller brush maybe for those little leaves here. Ooh. Water was not supposed to go there. So now for the bigger leaves, wetting it, a little more water. There we go. This is what I want. got everything covered now that I want to have with the colors. I'm going to put in quite a bit of white. I just have to check if I really have everything. And I think I do. I just want a bit more, let's say, oomph. That's a very technical term. Just a little bit more contrast and color brilliance. I want that. Here in those leaves, they look a bit tired now that they're dried. So I'm going in with the warm and cold red mix. At least here on those big leaves. Should have a bit more contrast. And a little bit also on this side. It's more like dry brushing what I'm doing now. I'm having very little water on my brush. And like that I can put down more texture onto my leaves here. There we go. That's more like it. I also want a little bit more dark here, because I want the squirrel to stand out. So this is going to be more red. There we go. Let me check again. I think I got it all. Yes, I do. I'm going to dry this off and then I can remove the tape and go in with the white gel pen. There we go. Let's remove the tape. Oop. And now I'm going from the top to the bottom and put in gel pen wherever I think I want it. But I need to have a little bit of paper to get it started. Okay, this is dry enough now. Let's start the gel pen again, have it cool, and then I want the white in the eye of the squirrel and also the bird. Gotta go back in with a black marker on the bird. Want some white here. And here. Then I think I'm going to start left to the right. So I'm just going to, right to the left because left-handed. And I don't want to smudge the gel pen, and this one stays wet for quite a bit. So I gotta be a little bit careful. Now I'm just dabbing in gel pen here at the flower. And it's fine if I don't have full coverage, that's like highlights there. And the only thing that's left to do now is put in some black marker here where the gel pen was a bit too much. There we go. Clean up my marker. Perfect. That's that, folks. That is my color challenge with the 3 colors of the Schmincke watercolors. I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm going to get back to you as quickly as possible. And if you want to see close-up photos because maybe the camera wasn't close enough for you to look at certain flowers or leaves, there is a blog post available on my webpage. The link is in the description box, and you can check out the photos and the exact colors and stuff there. And I'm going to see you next week. Next week is one of the weeks where I complete or where I paint a story painting in the Outlander coloring book before I go on to the Magical City and then a new color that I'm going to focus on. Have a wonderful day, my dears. Take good care, and I'm going to see you on the next video. Have fun, folks. Bye-bye.